Welcome to Behind the Scenes, the podcast where we delve into the diverse perspectives of the brilliant minds at Insura, one of the world's most experienced power and water consulting firms. This podcast comes to you today from Nipaluna, Hobart, the traditional country of the Moina people of the Southeast Nation. We acknowledge the Tasmanian Aboriginal people and their ongoing connection to culture and country, and the traditional owners of other lands people are joining from today. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening today. Join us as we explore the stories of talented individuals shaping a sustainable future, discover who they are, uncover the intricacies of their role, and explore what drives their passion. Get ready for an insider's view into the heartbeat of Insura and the journey toward a more sustainable tomorrow. Hendryk Klempke is a power systems engineer and team leader of the grid and power studies team at Insura. Growing up in Germany, Hendryk fell in love with Tasmania following a school exchange program. A stint working in a local school led Hendryk to decide to study engineering at UTAS, narrowly beating out teaching. He is passionate about the renewable energy transition, the role power system design and operation plays in on and off grid scenarios. A proud dad, Hendryk balances his technical and leadership career with quality time with family, serving as a great example to his team and the industry on how flexible working can deliver well-rounded results. Joining me today is Hendryk Klempke. Welcome, Hendryk.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
First question is always the same. Who are you?
So I'm Hendryk. I'm currently the team leader of the Grid Connections and Power System Studies team at Insura. Have been for the business for over 15 years, but as I said, most recently stepped into the role of team lead. Prior to that, principal engineer in the power system space.
We're going to go back a little bit to school days growing up. Mm-hmm. Where did you grow up? What got you into engineering? What was the draw?
Yeah, sure. So as you can probably tell by my accent, German background. So I was born and did grow up in Germany, northern Germany, small village between Hamburg and Hanover. Over there, had two older sisters, so family of five. And so from an early age, interested in engineering. So I guess my dad, he was engineer building train station, tram station. So he worked for the German railway company. My mum, she was an early childhood educator, both retired now. And I guess, as part of that family life, got a bit of a taste for some engineering things already. And then, later I decided to pursue a career in engineering.
And going through school, did you have a natural draw towards the mathematics and sciences?
Yes, most definitely. It's actually an interesting one because at the time, definitely loved maths, the sciences, physics, all of that. And I guess that came a bit more easily to me than other subjects. And it's only now later in life where I found I do quite like to be creative too and sort of pursue other hobbies, whether that's music or other things. But no, at the time at school, there was definitely sort of a strength of mine, I guess, in the sciences more so than in other subjects. So naturally, I really enjoyed it and I got a lot out of it. And that sort of paved the way, I guess, towards engineering.
So with the background of your dad being is it mechanical?
Civil.
Civil engineer?
Yep.
What tipped you towards electrical rather than following that civil or mechanical path?
Yeah, I guess just working for the train company over there, it just meant that when we went to open days and that kind of thing, there was always sort of trains to explore, to climb on. And so I guess I just really enjoyed looking and checking out machinery, that kind of thing. And, especially a sort of 8-year-old, 12-year-old, just like awesome stuff to do. And so initially, I guess that sort of drew me more towards mechanical and then sort of electrical, just electric trains, sort of what was the other element there, where when it came to choosing a path at uni, I was tossing up between mechanical or electrical. And then I guess at the time I thought I'd give electrical a go and really glad that I did because I've been thoroughly enjoying it.
And are you a train guy? Are you still a train guy?
Yeah, no. I do appreciate trains. And going back to Germany, I do very much enjoy traveling on train and using train transport. So I'm not quite to the extent where I've got it all set up in the basement. The model trains aren't quite happening for me, but no, I do appreciate trains.
Fantastic. So then you've picked the electrical path, and did you go directly into the power systems studies field, or was there a pathway to that?
So I guess the first 3 semesters were general engineering. So that was the full cohort of mechanical, civil, electrical, mechatronics, the lot. And then come 4th semester was time to choose. And that's when I did decide on electrical power systems engineering. So I guess in that sense, I did pick that fairly early on, or as soon as you can. And I guess for me, it was one of those things. At the time, I felt if it's not quite the right fit, then I could still change to mechanical. As I said, that was the other one I considered. But the more I got into it, the more I enjoyed it. And yeah, as I said, really happy with that. So I headed down that pathway fairly early on.
So straight out of uni, what was the first foray into the real world, if you like?
Yep. So I actually started as a vacation student here at the time, Hydro Tasmania Consulting, and that was just vacation work over the summer. So I did 12 weeks, and that was the first taste of working in the industry and, having a job sort of as a professional in a sense. And with that, then that sort of led on to joining the graduate program at the time, the Hydro Tasmania graduate program. But as part of that, you can do rotations. So I did actually do a rotation and in fact started at Insura, or again at the time it was consulting, but what then became Insura. And again, thoroughly enjoyed the work in that team too. So I did a couple of other rotations because that's where the grad program is really good. But I did get exposed to synchronous machines, power systems, and that kind of thing fairly early on, even fresh out of uni, which then again piqued my interest and made it something that I wanted to pursue and learn more about. And yeah, that's something that I've always had a keen interest in.
I feel like we've missed a piece of the puzzle here. From Germany to Hydro Tasmania, what was the pathway there?
Yep. So the connection actually happened through a school exchange. So my school in Germany got a school here in Hobart as an exchange partner, and there's a program where once a year there's Australians visiting Germany or Uelzen, my hometown, and then vice versa. So we come over. So that sort of made the connection between Tasmania and where I grew up. And the other aspect there is that in Germany, after finishing school, you actually need to do 1 year of military service. That's no longer the case, I don't think, but I guess at the time, that was one thing you had to do after finishing school. However, there was a way to do something else instead, sort of an alternative service of sorts. And for me, that's something I did and would still feel very strongly about, that's something I wanted to do. So here there was an opportunity to work at a primary school, at a Steiner school in Huntingfield, which is just south of Hobart. So I guess instead of joining the military, I did 12 months at a primary school, working there, just south of Hobart, and that sort of further established that connection. And as I said, then stayed on for uni.
And was that in a teaching capacity or in a support
eventually.
capacity?
So I started off sort of as the groundskeeper sidekick. So I think maybe it was also a case of them, they sort of had to try to work out sort of what can this guy do or what shouldn't you do. But I guess over time then, as I said, initially it was just sort of weeding and some pretty basic stuff around the school. But I do thoroughly enjoy working in a classroom environment too, so that it's then started with just starting as a supervisor on school camps, so just extra pair of hands, I guess, for the teaching staff. So did that, and then eventually, joined in the classroom for, I guess, German was sort of an obvious one where then I could jump in and help out, and then later on, joined other classroom situations too, where the teacher thought might be beneficial for me to hop into, and it was actually something I really enjoyed too. And I guess that's something I didn't mention at the start either. That's when it was time to choose a course for uni, I was also tossing up between engineering and teaching, because I feel like teaching was another thing I would have considered. But yeah, I guess working at that primary school was great. It was sort of really good 12 months. And yeah, towards the end then, very much part of the staff, I suppose. And as part of that, did some work in the classroom too with the kids. And yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, what a great story. So university here, graduate program through Hydro Tasmania. As that graduate program's come to a conclusion, there's then a decision to be made.
Mm-hmm.
How did that unfold?
Yeah, so towards the end of the grad program, I did very much enjoy my time on the grad program, working in this industry for starters. So I knew that I didn't want a career change to swap industries or anything of that sort. Then in terms of picking where to go, I do love Tassie. So I felt like this is a great place to be and to work and to live. And I guess Hydro Tasmania as a whole, and then Insura in particular as a consulting firm, something that I also started to feel strong allegiance to, as in I love the way we work. I love the work we do. And as part of that, working on some pretty cool hydro machines all over the state, for me, especially at that age, was a big draw card because at university, you learn all the theory, some pretty cool concepts, that kind of stuff. But to actually get your hands dirty, to go to site, to see these things in real life, that's pretty awesome, literally awesome to be able to do that. And I guess this business provides those opportunities. So for me, it was a case of I definitely wanted to stay and do that kind of work.
Yeah, and the extra advantage that Insura has is that reach can then be expanded to the rest of mainland Australia and then internationally as well, right?
Yep, absolutely. In fact, I have worked on projects here at Insura then for external clients where some sort of asset knowledge that's needed or knowledge about equipment, OEMs and so forth. That's where I could really draw on my experience, I guess, having worked in other parts of the business too, where I have been to site, have literally used some of this gear and equipment to be able to help support. And then that's sort of a service that we can actually offer because we do have that capability. Most
of what Insura does is around renewable energy, and whether it's in the off-grid space or the on-grid space, it's really centred around that clean energy. What does it mean to you to be involved in that part of the industry as opposed to, say, looking at similar sorts of projects for coal or gas-fired?
To me personally, it means a lot. I get a lot out of it knowing that we are contributing or even leading some aspects of this transition to transform the electricity industry to move towards renewables. And I guess here in Tassie, we're somewhat fortunate that with the hydropower background, we have been renewable for a very long time. I realize there's also some non-renewable generation sources in Tassie, but generally and at large, sort of at the forefront right there. Now, on the mainland and elsewhere, and Tassie included too, really with solar, wind, BESS, those kind of technologies having come a long way and continuing to make great progress in terms of technological development. I think it's pretty cool to move to that new future state, if you like, where we won't be reliant on fossil fuels as much, because it's one of those things where can't burn that stuff forever either. It's not going to last indefinitely. And to be sort of a bit more self-autonomous in that sense too, and be a bit more independent. And as I said, it's a very dynamic, fast-paced environment where the technology over the last 5 years even has come such a long way, and to be part of that and be at the forefront of that, for me personally, I'll get a lot of job satisfaction out of that. It's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thinking about the national scale, what are the challenges that we need to overcome to facilitate this transition?
Yep. So I think there's two aspects to this. One is the technological challenges. So this is just around how we make it happen in an engineering sense. But then the other piece to that, I believe, is the public perception. And that's one that can be a bit more challenging to manage because ultimately sort of the guidelines framework that's set even from legislators and so forth, their public perception does play into that. So sometimes as we go through this transition, some things might get blamed on the introduction of renewables when that's not actually factually correct. But in the public domain, it may be perceived as such. So there's really an element there of, I guess, managing that message and sort of getting facts out there rather than just opinion. So on as I said, on the technology front, that's where we are moving at quite a fast pace. But I guess it is this balancing act of decommissioning the old plant, the fossil fuel plants, and building the renewable plants. And it's one thing where you can't plan it to perfection. It's sort of, you can't line them all up perfectly and can say, look, this month you come online, you go offline. It is a bit of an iterative process. So over time, we are making that transition. So we are doing fairly well so far, but there's still a bit more to go. And I guess, just need to make sure that we stay at the forefront of this and keep driving it forward.
For a couple of years now, you've been the team leader. How have you found that transition from moving from high-level technical resource to people manager and the necessary reduction in technical work that comes with needing to spend your time in managing the team?
Yeah, I found it quite hard early on to let go of the technical work, to be honest. So I love getting amongst it, the number crunching, as I said, some pretty cool technology we work with, and to get your hands dirty. Absolutely love that kind of stuff, still do. So initially or early on, it was a bit of a challenge for me to not jump back into the projects, to not jump back into sort of best of intentions, helping people out, to guide, mentor, teach. And really had to learn that my role now as team leader is different, and it is a different focus. So as I said, I would still love some technical work, but now knowing that it is very much also about developing the team. So there's two aspects I find. Is one sort of at an individual level. We've got a team made up of individuals who all have, career aspirations, and me hoping to enable that, to allow them to pursue what they are passionate about, what they want to do, what they want to develop in the different areas. At the same time, making sure that matches with the business needs, I guess. As a business, there are requirements around sort of the capability we want to build, the sort of build additional capacity to take on work, and also this need to stay at the forefront of these technological advances. And trying to balance that has been really interesting for me to have that as a challenge for myself. And so with that, then also it's not just technology that we need to keep our expertise up to date in, but it's also sort of soft skills, professional development to create well-rounded teams. And it's one of those things where, as consultants, it's one thing being a good engineer, but it's also being a good consultant is the other piece of the puzzle. And really those two need to be present for us to be successful. So then trying to create the right pathway for us to achieve that, that's sort of the challenge I would be looking at now, rather than doing the number crunching before that.
And do you think that early experience, teaching in a school, guiding, mentoring, helping those younger people has influenced the way you have taken on the team leader role?
I think so. I guess ultimate test would be to ask my team, so I can do that after this. But no, look, I'd like to think that I do genuinely care about people and also their development. So I do try to create that space, and also, provide people to take ownership of their aspirations and where they want to go, where they want to take their career. So I'm hoping I can enable that. And just with my background in sort of teaching and having had that passion for mentoring too in the technical space early on, to now, I guess, also provide a bit of hopefully guidance and advice where I can as to where to. And, if you're in your career at a crossroads, what do you want to do? Do you want to work more technically? Do you want to go into business development? Do you want to go into more of a team leader kind of role? And because I guess I've been fortunate enough to get a bit of a taste of all these different things, to then, I guess, at least share my experiences from my perspective, to then hopefully enable them to make an informed decision and sort of decide for themselves what's the right next step.
Let's talk a little bit about the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful group of quite diverse skills and levels of experience. How do you manage those different levels of skill and experience and make sure that you've got the right people on the right jobs, but also facilitating, as you say, that mentorship?
Yeah. No, it is a great team, and just as sort of additional background info, we are split half between our Melbourne office and our Hobart office. So I guess that means that inherently a lot of our collaboration happens online too. So tools such as Teams, for example. Again, there's sort of two aspects here, I would say. One is sort of the structure of the team, the hierarchy in terms of how many principals, seniors, professionals, graduates you've got. That's sort of one aspect. So you kind of, want to get the framework right there, I suppose. You don't want to be too top-heavy or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, if you don't have the right people around you, it's never going to work. And that's where I think it is really important that we sort of remember the importance of developing ourselves as well as others. So I feel like everyone has got something to share, to give, and to teach, even those who may not have as many years on their CV as others. But I really try to encourage this learning from one another, because there are some things that those fresh out of uni are excelling at, are absolutely fantastic at, where then sometimes maybe those who have been around for a bit longer can really learn from that. Sort of vice versa, those more senior in the team, sort of buddying up with more junior engineers to pass on some of their knowledge, expertise, can be in a formal setting as mentor-mentee, but can also be very much informal conversations, catch-ups. So with that, part of that we do formally, where we might do team presentation sessions where we sort of pass on formal knowledge, sort of technical in nature, but then other times also do encourage the informal catch-ups. And for me, that also includes them to have lunch together, sort of check up on one another, sort of share a bit about yourself, because I just feel like that connection is quite important, and it makes such a difference when you're trying to perform. And for a high-performing team, you really do need that. So yeah, we do try to pay close attention to that.
One of the many impressive things about you, Hendryk, is you are a very proud and passionate dad, and you are really involved with your family. And I'm interested to explore how you utilise flexible working and manage the various different responsibilities that you have for this high-performing team and your career, but also give that time to your family as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so absolutely. So I guess very fortunate here at Insura how we do provide these flexible work arrangements. So for myself, I guess quite early on, so I've got two boys, and when they were quite young, I did move to working part-time. So I took Thursdays off just to have that time with them, doing the runs around the playgrounds around Hobart and sort of, Margate, Richmond, you sort of get a little schedule going, and absolutely loved it. And for me, it was one of those things, I just didn't want to end up in a situation where 5, 10, 15 years down the track, I've got regrets. And sort of one of those things where the one thing you're never going to get back is time. And even now, I think they're never going to be 5 years old again. So I am glad I did that, and it's very important to me. And with that, as I said, early on, took Thursdays off. Then later, I moved to working shorter days, so would work Monday to Friday, but work 6-hour days to be able to do school pickup, because again, it's something I've felt strongly about and was important to me, and really glad I did that. Now, as they get older, sort of they make their own way home, probably not as cool to be dropped off by dad again. And with that, I guess Insura has been very accommodating with that, and I'm very grateful for that. For me, I guess then, in terms of what does that mean for the team and leading the team, I do try to make sure I'm available as and when needed, and also to, I guess, lead by example in a way that I can say, look, I'll be offline this morning because swimming carnival is on. I'll be online from midday, anything urgent, call my mobile, whatever. But I do make that time for family. And I guess with that, hopefully then the team also know they can do the same.
Looking forward over the next 5 to 10 years, how do you see the industry and the work that you and your team do evolving?
Good question. As I said earlier, it's a very fast-paced and dynamic environment we operate in. So for me, I feel like it's still going to be the same in sense of regulatory requirements are aren't going to change that much. I think we still have to put the same rigor and diligence around connecting new plant to the market and build on that in the future state of the NEM. For us as a team to remain competitive, I think it's very important that we keep working on the latest and greatest projects. So at the moment, grid forming inverter technology is something that sort of really come to the forefront over the last year or two, and that we keep working in that space. So we're putting some runs on the board there, working with some great clients in that space. And it's a case of not becoming complacent. I think that just because we've had success in the past doesn't mean that we're automatically going to have success in the future, and this sort of staying hungry, and there's always efficiencies to be gained. You know, I mean, so as a German, love my efficiencies. So I feel like that's something we could really leverage and keep pursuing for sure.
Brilliant. It's been a great chat. Thank you so much for joining us, Hendryk.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us on this insightful journey behind the scenes at Insura. We hope you've gained valuable insights into the incredible individuals driving sustainable innovation. If you've enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations as we continue to explore the people and stories shaping our sustainable future. Connect with us on LinkedIn and Facebook, and find out more about the work we do at insura.com.au. Until next time, this is Mark signing off from Insura's Behind the Scenes, where sustainability meets inspiration.